do not be discouraged. If medicine is really something that you want, you need to go all out and go get it, and work really, really hard.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching one of my videos once again. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope you do stay and become a part of my journey as I become Dr. Eddie. This is another episode where I get to sit with a health sciences student or a healthcare professional, and they get to share more about their journey. Today I am having Tom Dionsi, actually my classmate. Tom, how are you doing today?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well.
Tell me more about yourself.
My name is Tom Dionsi. I'm 23, time before me. I'm turning 24 this year.
Yes.
And I'm from Cape Town. I've pretty much been here my whole life. And I'm a fifth year medical student at UCT.
Yes, he's actually my classmate, guys. When I heard that you transferred from BSc to medicine, like you're one of the few people, I literally told myself that I have to have a conversation with you. Because a lot of people here on my channel have been asking me, how do you transfer from BSc to medicine? And I can do my research or whatsoever, but it is always better to have someone who have traveled that journey to come and share with us. And I'm so glad that you are part of this podcast today. And I think a lot of my followers are also going to benefit from our conversation we are about to have. So just a little bit of background. Can you please say which high school did you go to and what year did you finish your Matric?
All right, so too many years ago now, but I went to Bosch Boys High School, also in Cape Town.
Yes.
I went to the prep school as well, so it's kind of at that school for also most of my early schooling, all of my early schooling.
Okay, can I ask Tom, did you always know that you wanted to study medicine or become a doctor?
So I actually distinctly remember that when I was in grade 7, we started learning about the brain a little bit.
Yeah.
And even that initial, very basic sort of content covering the brain, it really intrigued me, and I thought, wow, this is incredible. This is such an interesting organ. This is such an interesting part of the body, and that already I said at the time, wow,
Yes.
I'd love to become a neurosurgeon. That was the
Oh
beginning.
my God, you have a similar story to me, because when I was in grade 9, we were learning about the circulatory system, and I was like, I love the heart. I want to be a cardiologist, only to come to med school and realize that this is nothing like biology. The specialty itself is really, really different from just the theory. Let's talk a little bit about when you were in grade 12. You were now applying. Tell us more. Which universities did you apply to? Was medicine your first option?
At that time, I was actually in grade 11 and was more of an average student. I wasn't getting, definitely not the sort of marks that you need to get into medicine either.
Oh, okay, I see.
And I remember at the beginning of Matric, I went on a course. It was more of like a study course and stuff, and I don't want to use the old term pulled myself up and just got into the grind. But I really
you did,
started working a lot harder and trying to get the marks that I needed. And the problem was, because of circumstances, I had a bit of an atypical kind of attempt to get into medicine, because I just applied to UCT and Stellenbosch for med school. So I wasn't going to go all over the country and all the different other med schools that we had available at the time. But yeah, I was very much set on it. I worked as hard as I could in Matric, try to get those marks. I think I ended up with an 85 aggregate at the end of Matric.
Oh, yeah, that's really great.
It's good, but it's definitely a far enough cry off of what was needed to get in.
Yes.
My second choice, so my first choice was obviously medicine for both universities. Yes. My second choice was a Bachelor of Science, with the majors of Human Anatomy and Physiology, because I thought this was a very interesting field to go into with if medicine doesn't work, and also would lay more of the groundwork for medicine and getting in.
Okay. One of the most mistakes that people make, that I tell them also on my channel, is applying to few universities,
It's definitely a mistake that I made
there are
too.
literally 10 medical schools in South Africa, and when you apply to fewer than the 10, you are basically decreasing your chances. Because 85% is really, really a good average. Like, don't even downplay yourself. That is a really, really good average. But because of the competition in UCT and Stellenbosch, it makes it close to impossible for people to get accepted if only you're gonna apply to those universities. That's why applying to as many universities as you can literally increases your chances. But now I want to go to your first year. So I assume you ended up studying your second option, which is Bachelor's in Sciences in
Human Anatomy and Physiology.
Yes,
and
definitely.
it was at the time biochemistry for my second major, but I switched that to genetics. It was something that after second year, I'll get into how BSc works, but after second year I kind of found it was more interesting, and if I was going to complete this BSc, you know, because you kind of want to stack all your options up, and not just kind of be studying something that, you know, in the end of it you're not enjoying, trying to get into medicine. But I can also 100% agree that the best thing to do is to apply to as many medical schools as possible that you can off Matric, and in the subsequent years just increase your chances, you know, because if you really want to be a doctor, it's one of the best ways to get there. So in first year of BSc I was working, you know, trying to get the marks up again.
Oh, okay. I thought you had like a part-time job. I was like, ooh.
So I was working a little bit with a part-time job during the first part of BSc, and this is, I think, what contributed to the reason that the first semester of BSc, my first half of my first year at university, I kind of fell off a little bit. It wasn't that I was losing that dream of wanting to become a doctor, but I mean, it's university, it's very different to high school.
It's
I'm
so
sure
hard
you've
to
felt the exact
adjust
same.
as well.
It's a bit of an adjustment.
Definitely.
That with trying to pick up a part-time job, because that's what people do in university as well. I started working for Butler's Pizza, which is a local delivery pizza place around Cape Town. And that I think combined with a bit more university lifestyle, kind of like trying to do the work, but, you know, also exploring kind of the more of the freedom that university, especially first year.
It's hard to balance everything.
Yeah, and I think I didn't get that balance so right. So I remember the whole of first semester, it was going okay, but I definitely wasn't getting the marks I wanted to. I definitely don't think I was putting in the work that I needed to. So my marks after the first semester of university were not where I wanted to be. And I saw that. I remember thinking about over the holiday, okay, let's finish up work for Butlers. Let's finish up whatever other, you know, not hard-working things we need to be doing. And then second semester, let's hit it really hard. Let's get back into that study grind. Let's get really serious about trying to get the marks that we need to try and get into medicine. Okay,
so if I may ask, I know that BSc was your second option, but did you study BSc in mind of, okay, I'm accepting that I'm just going to finish this BSc degree as like, now I'm taking this as my career, or you had medicine in mind from the moment you registered for BSc?
So I definitely had medicine in mind the moment I registered for BSc, and it was still a dream that I had. Basically what my journey was looking like for me at the time was, okay, I didn't get in the first the first attempt, right? That was off Matric. So if I keep working really hard in BSc, I get the marks that I need to, and I just, you know, keep on getting good marks, keep on getting good marks, keep on applying.
Definitely.
I'll eventually get there, even if it takes me this first year BSc, second year, which it eventually did, or, you know, even completing the whole degree.
I mean, that's a threat, hey, not giving up, because I don't think this is the easiest route to take.
It's not, that's for sure.
I hear you talking about getting the marks that you want, getting the marks to get into medical school. Can you at least, you know, share with us what exactly are those marks and what were you exactly aiming for? Because I can imagine that transferring from BSc to medicine, especially at UCT, you did your BSc at UCT, right? First year. So you wanted to transfer from BSc at UCT to medicine at UCT. So tell us more about like the marks that you were aiming for. What exactly should someone aim for if they really want to be, you know, competitive enough?
At the time, what I was kind of aiming for was at least an 80% average across the board in university. The reason why this is a bit different to the Matric sort of entry levels for medicine is because Matric, you've got those tests as well.
The NBT?
The NBT slipped my mind. That doesn't really apply as much for when you apply in university. They want you to have done them, and I think they last about 3 years. So after 3 years, you actually have to redo them if you're going to apply from a university point, even though they don't, I think, add them into the score. They just want to make sure that they can look at them and see how you've done, if that makes sense.
So what you're saying is NBT doesn't really affect...
I think it does, because it means that they want you to have it and they want you to have a good NBT mark.
Good marks
just
as
like
well.
in Matric, but it doesn't get calculated like into the score. So in Matric, when you apply to UCT at least, there's a score out of 1,000. And about 600 of that comes from your marks, or 700.
900,
yeah. There's like 300 more for MBTs.
NBTs, yes.
Yeah, and there's like 100 from like a motivational letter or like a CV that I think you submit as well for UCT. So for...
Is that for BSc?
No, that's for medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the one that I know is... I think it's the FPS score, where it's like 300 NBT and then 600 your Matric marks.
Yes, and then 100 is like a letter that you write, or like
which means like
curriculum
additional
vitae, CV, like additional information that you did during schools, like accomplishments, like prefects.
Oh, I guess it's also the personal report as well can add.
The personal report, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So when you apply from an undergraduate perspective and you're not a Matric, you don't have to do a personal report, but you have to do a CV. Which is like a personal report, and it adds a little bit of detail and information.
Yes.
And that's kind of where you put like your job shadowing since you've left school.
It does
what
make
else you've
sense.
been up to. And that adds to your score. And they want to see that you've had NBTs. But most of the time, and what I was told, is that it just comes straight down to your marks.
Okay.
They want to see that you've been a bit active with the CV that you submit after leaving Matric. So that you've been at least doing some job shadowing maybe for medicine. So that's also another good thing that you can do. To kind of show them that you really want this. If you keep doing like the sort of job shadowing that we were doing in school, where we'd go to different medical clinics or hospitals and then shadow the doctors there for some experience, I think that can definitely contribute quite a lot.
Wait, did you know that when you were doing it in high school, that it can increase your chances into getting into medicine, or it's something that you started doing actively when you're in first year trying to get into medicine?
So it's actually something I did more of when I was in high school.
Okay.
I did a kind of school matched, or kind of like the high school made us do this job shadowing in grade 11 for 3 days.
Okay.
And I chose to, as I said, do at a trauma center in Mitchell's Plain. And in Matric, I went back for another week. And that wasn't through the school, that was just my own personal, in my holidays, I want to get more exposure to this, I want to show everybody that I'm trying to do more community service and job shadowing.
It, because I think also when it comes to medicine, it should be something that you enjoy, not only just because you're trying to, get points, Job shadowing, it should be something that you are really eager to do, it's something that you enjoy, you really want the clinical exposure. So yeah, I think that was really good. And I think also people who are listening right now, if you really, really want to increase your chances into getting into medicine, whether via BSc or just, from Matric to university in first year, do that job shadowing, submit your personal report, your extracurricular activities are really important, your sports, your position in the, school council, whether you're head boy or head girl, I think that also counts when you apply as well. So I want us to go back to your first attempt when you actually tried to get into medicine. So now I'm imagining you're in first year and you're looking at your marks, you're thinking, okay, I'm not getting, the marks that I'm aiming for, but I am going to apply anyway. So I want to know, how did you apply? Is there a special way to apply, or you just use, the common application website with the, with matriculants when they're applying? How does that go?
Okay, so it's a little bit different for UCT and then different for some of the other institutions around South Africa as well.
Makes sense.
Stellenbosch, at the moment, to my knowledge, doesn't take any undergraduate university-going students that aren't from Stellenbosch for applications after Matric. So if you are from Matric and you apply to Stellenbosch for medicine, this is specifically for medicine, then you can apply. But if you're doing an undergrad at UCT, you can't apply until you've completely finished that degree.
Okay, wait. Explain that a bit. I'm a bit confused.
So if you're applying to medicine for Stellenbosch University.
Yes, and for first year.
Yeah, for first year. But you're currently doing your undergrad at another university. Like for me, I was at UCT. And I wanted to apply to get into first year medicine at Stellenbosch. And they wouldn't let me apply. Because you have to have finished your whole degree.
So they'll only accept you if you're a postgraduate, if you're already registered in other universities.
Yes, if you finish your degree there, or if you're coming from Matric. So
I see.
Wits as well. had a similar sort of program. They weren't really accepting just undergraduate applications.
Yeah.
They have a graduate entry medical program.
Oh yes,
yes, which you've heard about
the GEMP. Yes, I think it's very common.
I've heard a couple of people that have actually gone through that, and I've met some doctors that have gone through that and then now qualified. And that sounds like quite a good medical program if you're kind of finishing your BSc studies now and you're still wanting to get into medicine, but everywhere else there's a lot of competition and stuff.
I think it is like a great option for someone, let's say, right now you've just finished your BSc and you realize, oh, actually, I'd like to become a doctor.
Yeah.
I think that GEMP program at Wits is kind of like the perfect one for you, because also I think you start in third year instead of first year as well. So how does the UCT one works then?
So then for UCT, and much like I think the Free State University and the University of Pretoria for those medical schools, which were the ones I applied to in my second year. At the end of first year, because of different circumstances as well, I was still looking at mostly Stellenbosch, and I think I applied to UCT as well. Because I think I got onto the whole application process a bit late as well.
Oh, I see.
So Stellenbosch was UCT was one of the only ones that was still accepting applications by the time I really got myself into gear and went through the whole application process again. But what it is it basically allows you to apply kind of concurrently with the Matrics, but it's that they allocate a certain amount of slots to people that are coming from different universities around the country, but also from UCT themselves, from an undergraduate perspective into the degree.
So it doesn't matter what the application closing date, if the spots are done, then...
It still does matter, and there is an application closing date, but UCT kind of leaves the applications open a bit longer. That was just my case. But in general, you're going to want to start looking at application processes at the beginning of the year. So in March, April already, you're going to want to start looking at...
I want to know exactly the first day when they're opening, so
I want to know which universities have which closing dates applications, because a lot of them close in June, July. So you're going to have to apply it by April, May, fully. You submitted all your documents, you submitted what marks you have so far, and any kind of motivating documents, or that is like your curriculum vitae.
So I assume you have to then prepare yourself like beforehand, all of your documents and everything like that, if you know that you want to apply.
It's a lot of admin, it's a lot of preparation.
It's really competitive, hey?
Yeah.
So you're saying like when it comes to UCT, UP and UFS, right?
Yes.
You apply on the same like website with the matriculants?
Yeah, it's not like much of a different application process. I think just some of the documents that you need are different. For example, for UCT, you submit a CV instead of a personal report. You submit your MBT results, but I think they kind of have a bit less of a role to play than they do in Matric. Not as an exactly like a score as it's used in Matric.
I see.
It's more of like a motivating factor to show that you did do well in your MBTs.
Okay, so when you're applying, do they just ask you, are you in Matric? Are you a postgraduate?
Yeah, I think there's an option to select. And if you're applying as an undergraduate or as a postgraduate, then
it kind of leads you automatically to where you should. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened with me was I had applied for UCT at the end of first year BSc.
Yeah.
My marks were around just under an 80 aggregate, so obviously not where I wanted them to be. I'd done okay in most of my marks for first semester, like at the halfway point through the year of first year. And then during the second half of the year, I worked really, really hard. I pushed a lot of those marks up with courses and subjects that I wasn't so good at compared to other ones that I was good at. And I got those marks a lot higher, but it didn't kind of make up for my first semester, so I wasn't above that 80% that I think is a good level to strive for, but obviously more if you can get it, if you're going to apply, being an undergraduate now.
Definitely.
So I applied, and obviously the marks went up to scratch. I submitted a CV as well. It had some work experience from Butlers, but not too much else. I wasn't really able to organize any job shadowing that year, although I think it's a nice thing to have, because it shows them that you're interested enough to go and job shadow as well. So you're interested in medicine, and you're doing something about that. So I can recommend that for anybody who's an undergrad now. Just go get some job shadow experience.
Definitely, guys, take the tips.
And then they rejected that. But then I remember in that first year, after I had applied, so now when my group that I would have been with was going into second year, and now your group was going in your first year. There was kind of like an applications problem, where I think they sent a lot of people confirmatory applications, and then the system sent out a lot of people like
a glitch in the
declinations.
System, sort of.
there was kind of a glitch in the system. And then they ended up having a lot fewer students registered. So a lot of the students that had applied for BSc and had gotten in and had almost started on up campus already, they were getting invitations back to medicine for your year. Yeah. Because of the system glitch. Yeah. So I heard about this a little bit too late. I think because I'd obviously applied and I'd been rejected, but I pretty much went up to the faculty office on Faculty of Health Sciences campus and spoke to their head of, I think it was either admin or admissions. And I was like, hi, look, I'm from BSc. I applied to medicine. I've heard that you have some slots open. I'm like really, really interested in applying.
Oh, so there were slots open during that time?
Yes.
Okay.
And if there's any chance, can you please get back to me? And I remember I had an email back and forth with the admissions, one of the like high up people in admissions. And they were like, oh, you were just too late. Like we just filled up all the slots literally last week. But I think because of that, it's kind of showing that you really want it, because I was like going to the Faculty of Health Sciences campus. I was talking to the admissions people face to face saying, hey, if there are any slots available, just if that's okay, can I please come into medicine?
So you literally have to follow up, hey?
Yeah, so it's literally about follow up.
Okay.
And that, between that and keep on applying every year, you kind of build up that they can see that you're really trying.
Okay.
And now having failed to get in twice, once off Matric and once off of first year BSc,
how did
not
that
really
make
getting the
you
marks.
feel?
Exactly, so not good. It's difficult because you're kind of having this defeat and then this defeat again, and it's where you really want to be, you know.
Yes,
as interesting as BSc had been in first year, that wasn't what I wanted to be studying.
Yeah, but your real passion was like medicine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this kind of got changed around in second year BSc. Second year BSc, I wasn't working a part-time job, which I must say did help. Working a part-time job when you're in university is very hectic.
Yeah, it can work for you and against you, basically.
I currently do work a part-time job, but in that case, it's really all about finding the balance. And if you're working as hard as I was, especially in second year to get into medicine, I'd say you want to make that one of your primary focuses completely. So that's pretty much what happened. I pretty much completely reset in the beginning of second year, and I really got into some very, very hard work. Second year of BSc is when you start doing more specialized courses as well for your majors. So mine being Human Anatomy and Physiology has a big focus on Human Anatomy and Physiology. And a lot of the content that I was covering is the exact same that they were actually doing and we have done in second year medicine.
Second year,
So when I got to second year medicine, I'd actually done almost all of the physiology that we were encountering. So that definitely scored in my favor. So while I think usually when you're trying to apply for medicine at a university level and you're doing your undergrad, most degrees are okay as long as you're getting really good marks. It's always more enticing to them if you're getting good marks in subjects and contexts that are related to medicine. Exactly.
Okay. So because I wanted to know, is there a specific BSc that you have to do, or does it specifically has to be BSc in order for you to qualify to study medicine?
So when I was applying and when I was hearing about what everybody else had applied to and stories about people that had got in and etc. and hadn't got in and what they were doing, it was kind of told to me that it doesn't matter what degree you're doing to get into medicine.
Is that so?
It's just important that you get the best marks. I mean, I heard people that were repeating Matric to try and get in with better Matric marks. I heard people like myself doing BSc or doing a BA and then trying to, really get into medicine from there. I didn't really hear a lot of how those stories went. Obviously, mine did go, and I got into medicine.
Definitely.
And the four other students that came in to our year that we're in now from BSc, 3 of them were from Stellenbosch, and they had finished BSc degrees already, and they were literally either starting to do their masters, and one of the students was actually doing her masters that previous year before getting into BSc. So they were already
postgraduates?
They were already like postgraduate, yeah.
So they only took like 5 of you into medicine?
I think we'll get to that now, but basically during second year I worked really, really hard. My focus was getting into medicine, and it's definitely one of the most intense and focused and hard-working years of my life.
Of your life, I can imagine. And how were your marks then looking?
I ended up with I think it was an 80 aggregate overall, maybe a little bit more. But specifically for anatomy and physiology, those courses.
That's really good because it's really hard.
Yeah, university is definitely a lot.
So hard.
Of
Anatomy
a
and
different
physiology, getting an 80 is really not easy. So you might.
Well, actually, for anatomy and physiology, I got an 89 and an 87 for those courses.
Really?
Yeah. So those ones were through the roof. I was getting really, really good
you were
marks.
doing better than some of us who got straight into medicine. Because I don't even want to talk about my anatomy and physiology marks in first and second year. It was so bad.
Yeah. So I was getting really good marks there. I was getting, I think, kind of straight 80s for this other course called molecular biology. And then for genetics, that was kind of my worst subject. I think my worst mark for genetics that year was a 72. And I pulled that up to about an 81 or an 82 the next semester.
Mark. So which means this is really, really competitive, you know?
Yeah.
That is the point that we're getting here, that if you're trying to do BSc and you want to go to medicine, you need to get those straight A's, because that is kind of like, seems like the only possible way you can qualify, because it's really, really a tough competition.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing you saying they only accepted 5 of you guys.
Yeah. So in the end of that year, after having got like some really good marks, especially for the courses that were very linked to medicine and that covered a lot of like medical or medical related content, I'd applied through the normal channels for UCT again.
Yes.
And I also applied to the University of Pretoria and the University of the Free State as well.
So I applied to more now. Okay, which is so much better.
So I was kind of prepared now to go almost anywhere.
Okay.
At least to different universities around the country.
The country, yes.
To really get into the stream of, you know, studying medicine and becoming a doctor.
And how did that turn out?
So strangely, I think I didn't get in at, I think it was Pretoria.
Really?
Yeah. Free State left me waiting for a little while, but UCT did accept me.
Oh.
Yeah. So I found out about that a bit late into January, like in the beginning of January in 2020. When I got into first year medicine at UCT at the beginning of 2020, and I was over the moon. I was very stoked, to put it mildly.
So you got to first year or second year? Where did you?
So I got into second year, but the initial acceptance letter was, "Hi, you've been admitted to first year medicine at UCT," and I said, "Wow, that's amazing." I was so happy with that. That was what I've been working towards. And then I went away with a group of friends of mine. We were like celebrating before the term started. This was far before, and they called me and they said, "Hi, we actually have a slot open in second year medicine. Do you want to come through?"
Duh.
And I said, "I'm in Hermanus and I'm about to drive home right now. 2-hour drive just to make sure that I can come in tomorrow," because they had literally started the classes already for second year.
Should have told them I'm going to think about it.
I think I got off the phone, called my dad and said, "I'm going to do this," and he just, and that was an amazing decision.
Okay, do you know how many spots they have though? Because I know like for medicine, I think it's like 220, if not 250, like in first year. But do they have like a set number of spots?
I think it's about between 225 and 250. And I think there are about 25 of those slots that are reserved for students that are coming from undergraduate institutions or with postgraduate degrees.
Okay, I see.
So I heard about this information when I was in second year. And I heard, okay, I have to be one of 25, maybe even less, depending on how many they're taken. Then I heard that they reserve a greater number for UCT students that are undergraduate or postgraduate.
Okay.
Which I think it was maybe only 10, maybe 15 that were from UCT that they accepted. The rest were from other universities across the country or maybe international.
Because now I'm thinking the competition gets tougher if postgraduates can apply.
Yeah.
We are looking at 25. There's postgraduates. There's people who are from other universities. There are people from UCT Medical School, UCT other faculties.
Yeah, UCT and like physiotherapy and OT. I know a lot of people from those disciplines were also trying to get in. So between all of that, I kind of worked out that I'm probably going to have to be one of between 10 and 15, of which there must be more than hundreds.
Yeah, it's literally less than that because there's first year BSc, second year BSc who's also trying it, third year BSc, fourth year. So,
but I mean, of the slots available, I was having to be one of those 10 that got in or 15 that got in. There must have been at least 100 different applicants for those 25 slots, I'd say, across the different universities, across in health sciences, physiotherapy and like OT, because I heard a lot of those people that were doing those degrees as well were also applying, just like I was in second year BSc. some of the postgraduate students at Stellenbosch were applying for UCT as well. Some of those that got in were from Stellenbosch. So it was all over. And when I heard that stat, I was at least a little bit scared, because then you're thinking, wow, that's so much competition.
Yeah, that was
really
probably like life-changing news here.
Yeah, and I even knew this guy, that the fellow student of mine that got in now to medicine, that's in our class. I knew him in BSc, and I knew that he did want to get into medicine. I remember discussing with him in first year. And that was also seen to me as competition.
Oh, yeah.
And
definitely.
between that and like meeting people at UCT and on upper campus while I was studying there in first year and second year, you know, whenever I'd hear about people that were trying to apply to get into UCT medicine, I'd be like, wow, there's another one, there's another person. Or, you know, you just hear stories about everybody that wants to get into medicine at BSc. So a lot of that was, oh no, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot going on. And I think the best way to deal with that is if you can find somebody to work together and say, hi, we're going to hold ourselves accountable, we're going to try both work as hard, motivate each other to try and get in.
Like a study partner of some sort.
Yeah, especially doing the same sort of degree as you, that would be great. I didn't have that.
But you did it on your own,
I did it on my own. So
which is twice as good.
The second point is if you can't have that, or you don't have that, or you don't want to do that, just focus on yourself. Don't think about how other people are doing. Don't think about what marks they're getting. Don't think about how the competition is doing. Just focus on yourself. The only comparison should be yourself, for what marks you're getting, for how your studying is going, for everything else, you know? And just focus on getting the marks yourself, setting up a good study timetable, setting up a good working system that works for you to get as good marks as you can to get into medicine. That's it. And if you do that, and you keep at it, and you keep working, you'll get into medicine.
That is definitely great advice, hey. So what I'm finding is that you didn't let the competition like bring you down or discourage you. You literally used it for motivation and kind of like push you towards actually achieving your goal. Because I would assume, like, if someone right now is hearing that, oh my God, getting into medicine is so competitive, some of them might just want to give up. But look at you here. You were able to make it out of like the hundreds or the thousands that you will never get to know of. And at the end of the day, you are doing something that you really love, just because you worked hard and you tried over and over again, of which I really think your story is inspiring, and I hope it is inspiring someone right now. Thank you so much for watching up until this far. Please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, you like this video, and you share it with your friends. Once again, thank you so much to your future doctor, Tom Dionsi.
Such a pleasure.
Join me again every Friday here at 6 p.m. where I get to talk to a health sciences student or a healthcare professional, where we get to talk more about their journey. If there's anyone or any professional that you'd like to see on my channel, please drop their name below or tag them. And if you're a health sciences student or a healthcare professional and you'd like to come and have this conversation with me, where you share your journey with people who are watching, please do write me an email on becomingdrandy@gmail.com. I'd really love to have you here. I'll see you again on another episode. Bye for now.
Bye.